I'm Ivan Judson. I'm a solution architect at Harper, and I spend my days helping customers understand how to apply our platform to their toughest problems. These Friday sessions are my way of sharing what I'm learning about Harper as I onboard and learn how to use our software. This way, you can see not only what I'm learning, but how I'm using it to solve problems for our customers. So pull up a chair. Let's talk about what I've been building this week. Before we begin, I just want to kick off with a little bit of a review on what we talked about for installing and managing Harper installations. In my first video, I talked about building and deploying it the way that I would have done it, not knowing anything about Harper. And in my second video, I talked about the fact that our engineering team recommended using NVM, the Node Version Manager. I also talked about the fact that building and running Harper from source from our public repo is something we'd love for you to do. Make pull requests, fix bugs, add features, whatever it is that you can and want to do within our repo. And I showed how to do that using some Z Shell plugin, using a Z Shell plugin that I've developed and that I'll push out any day now as soon as I free up some time to push all this stuff to GitHub, where you should be able to find all the Harper Learn content eventually. So from that point of view, hopefully you've got your NVM installation working. You picked a version of Node using NVM that's earlier than version 25, and you've been able to download and install Harper as a package. If you've done those things, then you are good to go, and you can follow along with the things I'm going to show you today. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back and show you deploying static single-page app. Nothing but HTML in it, nothing fancy. I'll share my screen so you can follow along. So you can see here, I'm on, I log in and use Fabric for everything. I'm in my own organization named after myself. You can see my cloud deployment named test and my local deployment that's running on my machine named dev. You can also see my shell that I'll be doing running command lines in, running commands in. I will make this a little bit bigger so that it's easier to read. And I will also do the same thing with my VS Code, which is also here. So this is the static app. You can see it's got nothing. It's got a package.json so that when we deploy it to Harper, it's ready to go. I've got a config.yaml, and all it says is I'm serving static files out of the static directory, which you can see here. And I have an index.html that says nothing. It's a static site, hello static page. If you remember, I deployed this locally last week. So if I go up to spa static, here I am, same directory. I say Harper deploy. Boom, successfully deployed. I go over here, I hit refresh. You can see I'm loading the static page. Now, something we didn't cover last week that I wanted to cover this week is what if I wanted to deploy it to my cloud-hosted Fabric, cloud-hosted instance that I'm managing via Fabric. You can see this isn't running on my local machine. It's at a remote location. Using the exact same command, I can say Harper deploy, and I'm going to go over here to the docs and show you. This is on our command line interface page. All the way at the bottom, you can see remote operations, and this explains exactly what I'm about to do. I'm going to do a Harper deploy and a target. So I'll say target equals, and then I'll go back over here, the API URL. So I've copied that. I'm pasting it. So that matches this. Now, the thing to note is this is going to point at port 9925, which is what we call the operations interface. 9926 is in the browser. 9925 is where I'm going to send this. And this command's going to fail, but this is the command that we would use. The first thing it's going to say is I have to log in. That's what this stuff is right up here. So now I'm going to do that. I'm going to say CLI target host name equals admin, CLI target password, which you can use anytime, but I'm going to actually destroy this instance and it won't be there anymore, is ABCD1234. And now I can say Harper deploy target equals, and I'm just going to copy this because it'll make my life easier. And in theory, if I typed everything correctly. Okay. I'll do it exactly the way our docs say it. Because variation is the mother of pain. Let me check my password. All right, for those of you who are paying attention, you probably noticed that I exported the CLI target hostname environment variable set to admin, not username, which is why I was getting an error in my deployment. It had nothing to do with my instances. However, now I've got this instance that's fabric hosted, free tier, co-located, and it is renamed stage instead of being named test. So I just logged in. You can see in version 2.6.2 of the studio we've got here, we've got a new framework for templates and applications that we'll cover that in another talk. This is just, I just wanted you to see I'm in a new instance. Now, over here, when I say, let's deploy this static app to stage, and I've set the right environment variables, you see the same thing you saw when I ran it, and it was running locally. So now if I refresh, you're going to see I've got the static site sitting here. It's all working. Now what I have to do is I have to go back here. I have to copy the API URL. I'm going to open a new tab. I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to put on 9926, which is the hosted side. And I'm going to go to that same spa static route, which I thought I had. Spa static. Oh, I might need to restart the instance. Let me restart it and see. That helps. You'll notice it's running even in co-located and hosted free tier mode. When we run this cluster, it's running 2 instances of Harper, whereas when I'm running locally, I'm just running the single instance. So now it's going to be restarting the 2. While it's doing that, I'm going to take you through the next step of what we want to do. So I'll go back here. I'll go my dev instance. I'll log back in. There's the static site. So now I am going to come over here and I'm going to go into my projects, spa, Vue site. So this is a single page Vue app, Vue.js. And I've got this sitting here in another, you can see all the millions of things I've got. You can see I've got another VS Code window with this project. It's got a bunch more stuff in it because it is a Vue.js app. My config.yaml is basically the same. I've got an index, which is doing a single page Vue app, and it's going to have a single component. My package.json, now I've got a bunch of stuff. So I'm using Vite to do the build. I have ESLint and Prettier in here. These are part of our coding guidelines. I depend on Vue. That's my only real dependency. Except for development, I have all these other things. Now, one thing to know when we start, you'll see I have the URL path set to spa view. In my Vite config, I have to set my base to the same thing. And as long as I do that, when you go in here, you can see my main.js is doing nothing but mounting the app. My Vue component is super simple. It's a hello world with the Harper logo. There's almost nothing else to it. And in the assets, you can see I have a theme CSS. This is going to be big and spammy because CSS files are built that way. In public, I've got a fave icon and a Harper logo. And so now what I can do over here, first, let's, what is my actual clean command? I'm sure I have one sitting here. No, I don't. All right, no worries. So because this is actually a compiled app, not just a pure static app, when you do this, you have to do npm install. That installs Vue. And then you have to do npm run build, and that's going to invoke Vite to do the build, and it's going to populate this dist directory. And if I go back to config.yaml, you'll see that's where I'm going to point it when I do the deploy. So now if I say Harper deploy, again, this is to my local instance, you'll see it says successfully deployed. And if I come over here and I refresh my local instance, you'll see now I have the same thing sitting up here. And when I come over here and I refresh and I go to that route, in theory, let's see if, there we go. And there's a single page app with a logo, hello world. That's literally the simplest Vue.js app I could build to show you how to do it. Now let's go back over here. Let's look at our other instance, which should be restarted. We should have the static app, and we should get hello static page. Now, again, I'm going to use the environment variables that are over in this window. I'm just going to go cd .. /spa view. Let's do the same thing. Let's deploy this remotely. So I'm just going to copy this command. It's going to say successfully deployed. I'll come over here. You'll see it. I'm going to restart the cluster. That'll take a few minutes. It says up to 60 seconds. We'll see. But now what you've seen is I built literally the dumbest HTML single page static app that I could build. I've deployed it locally. I've deployed it to a Fabric hosted cluster, which is 2 instances running in the free tier. I built a Vue.js stupid simple app that has literally a picture and a hello world. I've showed you how to configure the repo, run the npm install, configure the Vite config for the base so that it matches your config.yaml, run the deploy, run the build. So npm install, npm run build, Harper deploy remote with the target argument. So that's there now. So you see localhost spa static, stage spa static. We'll copy this URL. We've got local spa view, and then we'll go remote spa view. Boom. So now you've got 4 copies of these two apps, 2 running locally, 2 running in my free tiered Fabric managed instances in the clusters there. And that gets us sort of through the basics of what I wanted to talk about. And it gets us through sort of the very, very beginnings of what it takes to build an app on Harper and get it deployed and running both locally for debugging, and also how to deploy it to your Fabric hosted instances and to build it if it includes compile time code and other stuff that you need in order to get there. Now, what I'm going to show you next is a hacky little IoT project. I'm going to build a Vue.js single page app, but I'm actually going to use our Harper MQTT client, our infrastructure around messaging that we have within Harper. And I'm going to connect to that LED sign over there that you can see behind me that's saying Learn Harper on Harper Learn. We're going to have a little text input. We're going to be able to type a message. We're going to hit send the message. It's going to make a MQTT publish on a topic channel on a broker. And then that sign is subscribed to the message channel or the message topic on that broker. And that's what shows up on the screen as a quick, I hope you believe me, but I'll show you for sure. Hopefully you can read that little LED sign that's over my shoulder. I'm going to do a command line send of a message right now. Boom. And now you can see it says, this is a real-time message live from Ivan. So I'll show you how to build that app. I'll show you what the broker looks like, how it all works, and we'll cover kind of your basics around what it means to do real-time messaging using MQTT as your protocol. All right. That's a wrap for this week. I hope it made sense. I hope you're excited about building apps on Harper. You can see how to do some pretty cool stuff. And I just want to call out a big thanks to the product engineering team. I had a ton of support this week from Nathan and Dawson. We have such an awesome engineering team. I'm going to call everyone out individually over these videos because they should get as much appreciation from you all as possible as you're working on this. Make pull requests, fix bugs, get on the Git repo. If you like it, give it a star. If you're working on it, send pull requests, make feature requests, get on Discord. You can actually talk to our entire product engineering team through Discord. You have immediate access to everyone who can have an influence over the experience that you have as you try our stuff. Stay tuned. Next week, we talk about MQTT and building a little app to send some signals. And don't forget, when you're building with Harper, there's fast, and then there's Harper fast. Talk to you soon.